6'1" to 217 pounds. Let's get into some of the film of one Mr. Breece Hall. Just organize it a little bit better right here. Okay, balance. And obviously, we're going to talk about plenty of things in the strengths and weaknesses that will come up plenty of time in this review. And kind of the benefit of it, and if you guys have been watching a lot of the film shows that I do, I don't really like. I wrote this. Let's see when I wrote this strengths and weaknesses list the last time I edited it. It's probably about a month ago. Yeah, about a month ago. And or maybe about 2 weeks ago. So the good thing is when I watch these plays with you guys, I kind of go through it again. Like I'm watching this film, I hit record, and then I notice like something quick, like, okay, balance, patience or footwork or whatever it is, record it. And then I really go through it with you guys. And like kind of how I think a little bit. And then the thing with the strengths and weaknesses list is you'll see me mention a lot of stuff like footwork or power in his lower body or balance or speed for his size or acceleration, whatever it is. And that just comes out naturally when we're talking about them. And then you'll hear me list it again in the strengths and weaknesses. So a lot of them I usually cover in the film that we're watching because that's obviously how I'm getting it. Now, there are plenty of plays that I do not record that I see these traits too, which is not necessarily worth recording because if I recorded every play where I learned something about a player, then we'd be here for 4 hours instead of 2 or even more hours. So the good thing about running backs is I don't really ever have to point out where he is unless obviously it's a 2-back set or he's out split wide or whatever it may be, which obviously Breece Hall didn't really do much at Iowa State. But with that all being said, obviously number 28 here, which I kind of like, honestly, that he picked 20 with the Jets, the first thing, because it kind of looks like 20. You just get rid of the middle part of the 8 right there. So I think 20 is a good fit. So we'll start with that right away. The most important thing, his football number. Number 20 for the Jets, number 28 for Iowa. Let's see balance. Again, so a lot of the running plays are going to be relatively quick because they're not over. Some of them aren't overly complex. Here, they're running mid outside zone. I don't really like any outside mid to outside zone or anything farther away from that in gun sets. That's just personally how I view those runs. I don't really view them as being as successful. I like the more direct angle instead of more of a flat angle. That's just how I view the running game. But who cares? But mid zone split, reading outside first. He gets kicked out. Now, obviously, his eyes go inside to this. He doesn't see a helmet flash. Keeps pressing. You're obviously going to see his footwork change a little bit just to get it flat right there. So cut. 2, just being light on the feet, again, awareness of this guy being driven back. There's plenty of running backs, trust me, who are going to overstride this, get caught up and fall down, or obviously it's going to deter them, but good job with his footwork to widen right there, get in the gap that he wants to. Tries a short stride foot fire a little bit, just to square up the next threat. And the next threat is able to clip his leg a little bit. But for him to be able to spin past that, absorb another hit to the legs, spin out of that, get his hand down, and then still fight for an extra yard or 2 makes all the difference. Now we're talking about, from here, let's see, potentially, 2nd and 9. Let's say this was 1st and 10, 2nd and 9 to after breaking 2 tackles, kind of 2nd and 5. This initial contact, some guys, they go down. They're down. So good job spinning out of it. Good job keeping his feet churning and pushing forward for as many yards as he possibly can. So that's obviously a good play by one Mr. Hall. And again, for a guy who's his size and with his power, and I think he's more finesse than power player, but just with his size in general, both height and weight, for him to possess some of the athletic traits he does, from balance to acceleration, contact balance in general is definitely plus traits. Like it's kind of like we talk about with receivers, which your next review you're going to get is Garrett Wilson, by the way. Talk about receivers, like you can't expect, let's just say from this draft, Garrett Wilson and Drake London, you can't expect them both. And if their route was exactly technically the same, you can't expect both to get out of their route with the same speed because Garrett Wilson's smaller. So Breece Hall, you're not necessarily going to expect him to be as fast or shifty as, Tariq Cohen or Sproles or whatever when Sproles was playing. But let's see here, cutback. Obviously pistol set right here. Again, I don't really, formations, you guys can figure that out. It's 12, but it's really a tight end or a receiver who's flexed in. I'm not sure if he's probably not a tight end. It doesn't look like his body, but nonetheless, I'm not going to go over that stuff a lot because unless it ties in where it really, really matters, the tight ends and the set don't really matter. I'm just going to waste a lot of my time talking about that stuff, to be completely honest. If I was doing a 5-6 play review, maybe, but we have a lot of plays to go through, so we're not going to go through that. But and I'm gonna let you watch the plays first, obviously, to be able to kind of get a feel before I even talk about it. But we're looking at another zone, mid outside zone, and initially, again, he's going to read he's going to take his first step or delay to get to the mesh point, and he's going to read these two. And it depends on the run, whether it be outside, mid, inside, tight, whatever is going to be your first, your second read. It could be first to second. It could be did I say first to second or first to second? It depends on the run. It could be first to second. Again, it all depends on that track. So inside leverage versus outside leverage. So he's going to press that a little bit, but what needs to happen, because he's from the pistol, it's a really wide track to get there, and he's from really deep, so it's going to take a little bit more to approach the line of scrimmage, where if he took more of a direct angle and like the single back set, then maybe he's there a little bit quicker, but he has to be aware of the backside penetration on this play, or not backside, this is actually more, I guess technically backside from the linebacker, but that's a massive gap. The linebacker shoots it. Breece Hall is aware of it. You're going to see him shorten his stride a little bit right there. One, drop his weight. You got to drop your weight to cut, obviously. I'm sure this inside foot is turned to the inside to let his hips rotate over top of it. Cut back. So drop. And you see him almost like double step. 1, 2, almost like a power step to the offensive line with that right foot. You can see it. 1, 2 right there. Just by the way his leg moves, that he's cutting off that foot twice. Again, pulls the ball away. A little bit of contact balance right there. Pushes up the field. And so, and the thing with Breece Hall is, and you'll hear me say this, he has good vertical speed. He has enough speed to get away from some guys. Obviously, the fastest corners in the league, some safeties are going to catch him, stuff like that. He's much more explosive vertically and speedy vertically than he is horizontally. If he's trying to outrun a guy to the sideline, he's not the best athlete in that way. But again, I'm not expecting him to be that exactly. If he's he's 6'1", 217 or exactly whatever he is. So don't think that as like, oh, a slight, he hates him, he's not fast. That's all I'm saying. Just to the sideline, he's not the fastest, the most shifty guy. But overall, still really, really plush traits for him nonetheless. They're shown. Hall cutback. Let's see here. Get another one of these gun sets. 11 personnel. Again, I'm definitely not the biggest fan of outside mid zones from gun set, and we're not going to get into that a ton because we're talking about Breece Hall. But in general, it just doesn't work to me. But you're going to see his eyes again reading at the mesh point. What is he reading? This guy's kicked out. So if he's kicked out, you're going to press it. Now you have to read your second read, which is going to be number 95. If 95 penetrates that A gap, then guess what? He's going to have to cut back, or he's going to have to bend the run back. So you're going to see him obviously read that. He's getting pushed out so far vertically. It's going to take him a really wide path to get there. So he has to evaluate a little bit more of the inside. What does he see? The situation. He's not going to outrace the backside defensive lineman right here to his spot. So he is going to drop his weight. Again, same thing we saw last time. Got to drop that weight. This leg is going to turn and open up as best it can. Again, it's still a little bit locked out. You'd like to see that toe turn as much to the sideline as you possibly can. So he's probably going to have a little bit of trouble getting off of that horizontally. He's probably going to get a little bit vertical right now. Get a little vertical. And now again, you get vertical, what's open? And he has really good peripheral vision. So he sees, at this point, this is erased from his memory, or it should be. Now he sees inside versus outside. I don't know if he sees this. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and says he sees color flash and this, what's open here. Get to it. And obviously we see him bumping some guys at the end. He does a really good job, like throwing his arm out as like a shock absorber, whether it be, up like this or down. He does a good job guarding his body and his frame with his near arm. It doesn't always necessarily just look as clean as a stiff arm. Like it doesn't always land where he's hitting a guy's face mask, but he does a really good job protecting his body, just getting his hand on there the last second just to stop that full force from coming at him, which allows him to stay a little bit more clean in terms of getting through some traffic at his feet. So gets through that, lowers his helmet, low man wins, bang, rocks a guy. Again, this guy almost looks like he just got sniped. 28 in the back. It looks like, tackling for him not the best, but nonetheless, pops past him. Another guy takes him to wrap up. He's still driving his feet for a couple of extra yards. So we'll watch again full speed, but again, another really good run. And we have plenty of runs here that are going to be a yard, 2 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards. Those runs that take a lot more away from a guy than a guy who's going to break an easy run that the offensive line opened for 50 yards. Which we're going to have some of those, obviously. But there's going to be people out there who are, there's a 1 yard run. Who cares? It's like, okay, are all 1 yard runs created equally, you know? Okay. So the one thing I will say with him in terms of his weaknesses is his ball security has to improve at the NFL level. Whether he's working through, traffic at his feet or in some holes, there are some times, and this is, I'm not showing the run play or anything like that here. This is why I'm showing it from this higher angle. Is just to show ball security. So whatever the run is, looking like it's another inside tight zone here, obviously cuts outside. Now, when you see him cutting outside, you're going to kind of see he doesn't have all the contact points of the ball you want to have. You want to have it in your elbow, your forearm, your hand, pressed into your outer chest area, or even the chest. So you want all those contacts. Probably what 4 points of contact. And right here you can see it's a little bit loose. Gets punched out. It's hard to see the hands exactly, but you could see just in terms of him cutting, you could see how loose the ball is. Gets hit out. Obviously, they pick it up for a scoop and score touchdown right there. So just in general, he has to watch ball security. It's not a massive problem for him, but NFL level, obviously guys are going to be smarter. One with both coming in to rip the ball out as a secondary guy, or being the first guy there, being able to rip it out. The famous Peanut Tillmans of the world. Hall balance counter OF. All right, so we're going to see the guard and the H-back pull. And they did this some at Iowa State where they ran like these direct snap running plays. It's not necessarily really like Wildcat. It's just to delay a little bit. So read option. I don't think he's really reading anybody. I don't think he's ever going to hand it off. He's looking to this side the entire time. He's not reading this at the end. So he's going to take it the entire time. Again, counter guard pull, H-back pull. Now, the only thing I will say here is sometimes there is a tiny tendency to bounce it. Times where I think he can get a few yards. Now, it depends, obviously, situationally. Maybe I should have the clock down. But just a side note, there are some times where he can get a few yards where he's looking to bounce it outside and get a little bit extra yardage here, because you think initially kick out, hand inside, this is open. Helmet. Inside versus or outside versus in, and inside versus out there as well. Maybe he takes this, but nonetheless, he gets outside. Now, again, we're talking about some of the balance he has through. Actually, sorry, I should just play. I don't know if I played the whole thing full through, so let me just play it. Again, just the way this guy moves is really impressive. Like, we're going to talk about obviously the patience and the footwork and all the technical aspects, but then there's certain level that could take you to, but you also need that freaky ability that a lot of these NFL players have. But he also has that. So he gets outside. Obviously, again, good job guiding his offensive line with his hand a little bit. Again, obviously that just helps him know that the offensive lineman know he's there, and obviously he also pushes off, helping the offensive lineman with his momentum. So gets off of that. Again, now he's cutting out field inside of this guy. He knows he's there. Eyes flash to the inside. What does he see? This guy coming high. What does he want to do when a guy's coming high like that? Got under him. Again, drop his weight. The only thing I'm going to say is try to get that foot turned, because when that foot doesn't get turned, it's hard to get over that toe. So you want to see him turn that foot a little bit more, but he gets inside of him. Again, reevaluates. Guy coming high. What do you want to do? Get under the guy who's coming high. And you're going to see him really, when he's getting through this gap right here, you're going to notice that he's exploding off of this foot, but he knows as he gets through this gap right here that this leg is going to be the near leg. So you're going to see him pull his knee up here to get through that. Watch. You're going to see him he pulls his knee up and through that. That's really big. It looks so little. It really, really does. And it's something that people are not going to talk about, but having a near light leg is really important for running back. So near light leg, pulls it through, high knee to get through that traffic, is able to, again, because that leg is now light and high, he has time to readjust to that contact, contact. Another juke, spin past another guy. Like, dude, that is a really, really good play. And we're pretty early. This is 5 plays in. There's a lot of good stuff. I know there's people out there who are only going to see the first 10 to 15 minutes of this review, which if that's all you need, then that's all you need. But for the people who are going to be here throughout the entire, about 2 hours, I would guess, we're going to see a lot of good plays, a lot of good plays. So this is, again, another run where he's going to be fighting to the line of scrimmage, as I labeled it, where it's not a big gain, but it's a good play by him to not get negative yardage here. So let's see from this pistol set with a little tight end wing. Again, not an easy spot, right, for him to be in. Again, I don't love these long developing.